so với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USPTO, tuần theo link thêm, tuần trên Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.
The hack's actually going to be building a really solid broad campaign. It's kind of a pain in the butt setting up, so I've kind of written out a little SOP off to the right here. The basic pieces of it is a pretty comprehensive negative phrase list that you're going to use right from the get-go when you launch the campaign. And then the parameters of the campaign is broad match, and it's going to be single words based on your search term data, and also double words and then triple words. So you're going to analyze your search term report and figure all those out, and then you're going to come up with kind of a test schedule to launch these campaigns over the next few weeks. And then the parameters of them are on the low end of the suggested bid with 100% rest of search modifier. So the goal here is to get on page 1 with low CPCs, and then dynamic down only, and then later on in the day these tend to be performing really well when most of the auctions kind of running out, some of your competitors are running out of budget. So feel free to test these in your account. Let me know how they do. They've been performing well for myself and quite a few users, so I figured I'd share it. This here is kind of a first look at our Search Query Commander tool coming out later this month. Really powerful for managing all of your search query performance data. So I just wanted to kind of slip this in here, but it's really not the main focus of this one. So main focus of this one is we're going to hop over on the listing wizard tab of Keyword Dominator, and you can use this as a new launch strategy, but it works a lot better, I think, if you've got some search term data, maybe over the past 60 days, pull that data in and you can analyze it kind of along with what I'm doing here. So if you're not familiar with Keyword Dominator, basically uses quite a few SaaS tools and Amazon exports to analyze keyword data. You end up building a kind of keyword list out of that data based on reverse ASINs of your competitors. And what we're going to be doing in this strategy is actually taking this keyword list and coming up with a single word frequency count, and then we're going to use that to build out our initial kind of bulk phrase negation list. So you can see over here, if you do have Keyword Dominator, all you do is after you've added terms to your target keyword list, you can come into the keyword list operations and hit keyword frequency. You can also hit the list popular brands to populate this section here. This is also pretty helpful in this strategy. So basically all you're going to do is copy. I like to just copy this entire list. This is honestly what takes the longest, and you'll just paste it and do the same thing with the brands list. But I'm actually going to put this in a different list. So I've got those two lists. Now what you want to do, I honestly don't know if it's faster to go down through and just delete out the good words or pick out the bad words, but you want to find all the bad words. So you just honestly want to go down through one by one. It takes you know, this is what takes the time, but it's worth it to just try it and see how it goes. So, and once you have this negative phrase list, you're pretty well good to go for the future campaigns like this you want to launch, as long as it's for this product. So if my product's like a travel golf case, obviously I'd want to keep that. If it's a travel golf bag, I would want to keep that. Case, obviously I'd want to keep that. Now if it's like a soft bag and we have hard here, that may be one that you want to negate. So I'm going to pretend that that's the case. You know, bags, club, that could be related to golf clubs, you know, airlines, that's all related. Now if ours doesn't have wheels, that could be one. Wheels we'd want to negate. So I'm going to say we've got a soft bag with wheels, or without wheels, sorry. So cover, they can have covers. You know, shell, if ours is soft, then it might not make sense to have the word shell. So I'm going backwards here. So you get the idea. You'd want to go down through and figure out all of these kind of irrelevant single words for your product. And then you're going to do the same type of thing with the brands list. Now keep in mind though, some of the brands may have a term in there that's highly relevant to your product, so you're gonna have to go through this one by one as well. But then once you have this list, and again, you'd want to go through the entire list. So I just kind of went through a couple words there. Once you have this list, that becomes kind of your negative phrase list that we're gonna deploy at the onset of launching this campaign. So I'll show you kind of how I go about that. But for actually determining which phrases we want to launch, both the 1 word, 2 word, and 3 word, I like to use the search term report for that. So I'm going to hop into ad tactics now, which is our bulk operations advertising platform. So if you are an ad tactics user, then this screen is going to look very familiar. Basically, all I've done is imported my bulk file along with the new search term report that you can download with your bulk file. I've clicked this button here, and then I've also added these search term boosted columns, which that just gives me this aggregated metrics at the ASIN and search term level as opposed to the metrics at the ad group level. So that can be helpful. But in this, we're actually just going to be using the gray columns here, which are the ad group level data. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to build out a monogram, bigram, and trigram. And I actually first saw this, I think, from Elizabeth Green. So shout out, Liz, if you're watching this. But we've got some users that really do well with this strategy. But basically what we're going to be doing is breaking out the single words in a kind of master list, and then the 2-word combinations in a master list, and then the 3-word combinations in a master list of this field here, of your search term field. And then it's going to accumulate our metrics here in gray, so then we can make decisions based off that data. All right, so to do some more analysis on our search terms, we're going to hop over to the labs tab, which is the little green one there. And if you haven't set up the monogram, bigram, and trigram, you're going to scroll all the way to the right. All right, and then after you sync your bulk file that has your search term data in it, you can just come into ad tactics and go down to in-gram analysis and click on all 3 of these, and then that'll build out the report you're looking at here. And all it's simply done is it's taken our search term column and split it out into single words in this one. So a master list of single words. In this one, it's a master list of like 2 consecutive words. And then this is the same type of idea with 3 consecutive words. And then it's accumulated all of those PPC metrics based on if this single word shows up in those search term phrases. All right, so just to kind of show you what's going on here with these numbers, let me just take a search term word here. So travel, and you can see like 557 is the orders. If I come over to my search term report, and I'm just going to search this column. I'm going to clear it out first, and I'll search for the word travel, then hit select all. All right, so if you see, I count the orders, you'll see down here at the bottom right, there's 557. So that's basically what it's doing. It's accumulating the metrics based on where that single word is showing up. And similarly for the bigram, trigram does the same thing. All right, so there's really 2 kind of ways you can use this data that's pretty useful in this application. The first one is I like to kind of filter out anything except that if there's 0 orders, or sometimes I'll do 1 order as well. For the sake of this example, I'm just going to do the 0 orders. All right, and then I like to sort it by spend. So these are going to be the ones you're going to want to go down through one by one as well and see if you're going to want to negate them along with the other negation words that we came up with from Keyword Dominator. Sometimes you'll find some good ones, sometimes it's kind of hit or miss. And then I like to do the same thing with the bigram and trigram just to get that kind of final phrase negation list. All right, and then as far as using this data to pick out the kind of money words that you're going to want to target, you just kind of clear the filter here. So I kind of just reset the filter and have it sorted by orders. So this puts kind of the good single words at the top. You can do the same thing with the bigram and trigram. All we're looking for are highly relevant words and phrases from these lists, and we're going to test them out in broad and the broad modifier with a little plus campaign. Anyway, for the sake of this example, let's just pretend that I pick kind of these first 4 words as ones that I'm going to launch. And the way I launch them is I just use the bulk campaign builder here in ad tactics. So you can see kind of how I set things up. This is going to be a multi-keyword campaign in this example. I like to use a pretty high budget, so 50 to 100 bucks, let's say. And then for the placement, like I mentioned before, rest of search. So not top of search, rest of search. We're going for kind of middle to bottom of page 1, and we're trying to get lower CPC conversions. So by doing that, we put the target level bid at the lower suggested bid and then raise the potential of that using 100% rest of search placement. So that's kind of the configuration that's been working well. And you can just launch this campaign through Bulk Ops Manager after you create the output file, or you could just easily create these in Campaign Manager as well. I just like to use the Bulk Ops method because if you're making quite a few of them, it's quite a bit faster. So that is kind of the process. Now, one thing you're not going to want to forget is to drop in your phrase list. So with this tool, you can just drop your negative keywords from the kind of the master list that you come up with, and you drop those in here and just make sure you pick negative phrase when you're launching this, and that's going to from the get-go really negate any of those poor performers and any irrelevant terms that we deemed unlikely to convert. So that's kind of the goal. And then really track your rank on this too. We've been seeing good success with organic rank boosts, even with broad. Typically it's not a well-known ad type to do that, but it seems to recently been working really well. So I'd recommend you track your rank along with giving these a shot. All right, and then for the modified broad with the plus, there's a little bit of hack in Google Sheets. If you just add a single apostrophe right there in front of the very first one, then you can use the bulk campaign tool if you are using ad tactics. And then one other thing I'll mention, after I launch these and go in and change the target level bid based on the suggested bid to the lower end, the next bulk file that I download, I'll go ahead and drop these new campaigns into the bid override table, just so like you see here, these are just kind of test dummy data, but you get the idea. You want to keep a close eye on these. I tag them as kind of the broad tests that I'm doing. And you'll want to keep a close eye for like 7 to 14 days to make sure they're getting low CPC conversions. And you should see in your placement metrics off to the side here, good rest of search data. So in this test data, I don't know that I have it, but yeah, you get the idea. You should be able to track and see good performance versus the other placements. If not, you may need to bump your rest of search modifier up a little more. So the only other hack with this is, I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, later on in the day when your competitors have spent most of their money, it's a lot easier to get the lower CPC conversion, especially if you're using the dynamic down bid strategy. So you might try only turning these on like afternoon, after 2 p.m., something like that, and then running them through the night and then see what type of results you get. So anyway, guys, I hope this helps. If you do have any questions, or say you're watching this on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and drop me a comment and just give me some feedback. Tell me what you liked about this video. I have a tendency to reach out to those commenters and give them stuff like free trials, get some feedback on tools and stuff. So it'd be to your advantage to go ahead and leave me a comment, and I will see you guys on the next video. Cheers.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Skyrock cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USPTO, tuần theo link, tuần trên Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem thêm thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.